Hi there, Sandra here from Create in Spain. Today I wanted to mention print and cut on the XTool S1 using Studio. Now I've done print and cut before now on my S1, but it's taken things like jigs in order to do it, and I wanted to see if Studio was going to be any easier in that regard, whether it's going to be more accurate. Now, when I did load up Studio, I was instructed to do a firmware update as well. So maybe that has something to do with it, I don't know. But I have found an accurate way of doing print and cut. I have tried numerous methods of doing it over the last day, but this is the one that works for me. Marking does not work. Marking does not give me the accuracy that I need. For some strange reason, it just doesn't do it. It's a few millimeters off in one direction or two directions, which for print and cut is disastrous. It doesn't matter if you're just cutting something out, but if you're printing and cutting around the edge of it, yes, it matters an awful lot. And I do a fair amount of card making and things like three-dimensional printed objects, things like little houses and cafes and bird cages and heaven knows what else. So to do a print and cut on this is really handy, and there is no print button as yet in XTool software. At least if they've put it in there, they must have hidden it well, because I haven't found it. So to do a print and cut, what I do is I use other cutter software that I have to create an SVG, which has got a print layer. I don't have to import the print layer when I do this. I can just import the cut lines once I've printed it out. But I print it out from other software because I can't print it in this one. Silly, because it's the only vector creation software I have on both my iPad and my Mac that I cannot print from. I know that lasers were traditionally used for cutting different things, but since they can cut paper and card, why not allow us to have a print function which would make life just a little bit easier? Enough of the rant. You'll see here that I've got some shapes. Now these, let me just zoom in. Here we go. These corners here are what I would normally class as registration marks. They have been printed onto my paper along with the hearts, for example. But I only want to cut the hearts out. I don't want to cut these out. So these I would actually set to no output, basically. And that's fine. As long as they are grouped and they're not going to shift in relation to each other, I'm set to go. So what I do is I print it off, I put it onto my laser cutter. Now the other thing that I do with this is I check the sizing. I know what the external dimensions of this bounding box should be, and they should be 200 by 285. Well, depending which side you're looking at, 285 by 200. I know this because I created it in vector software, and that's the size I wanted it. So that is the size it's being printed off. So when you import something, it doesn't make any difference really what size it imports it as long as you know what size it needs to be and you can make it that size. Okay, because you're not printing in this, so it won't make any difference to the quality of print, and the vectors aren't affected by that. They are scalable, so you can make them whatever size you like. So make sure it's the same size, and I've just gone for what is basically going to fit on an A4 piece of paper without having print margins in the way. So put it onto my XTool S1. And this is where it gets more interesting. If I open up this one instead, pretend this red line here is the laser. Now you would think that what you would be doing is making sure that these registration marks were, or certainly the left one I should say, would be lined up to the very center of that cross. This is not the case for me. It may be different from one machine to another, I don't know. I've only got one, so I can't tell. But if I do that, my print and cut is off. The outside of the laser, where it starts to get a bit fuzzy, is up here, and then this one is in the middle. Okay, Now, as long as I put my laser in that particular position, I will get a perfectly good print and cut, to the extent that I can cut out three-dimensional patterns which are going to have to fit together quite closely and know that they're well cut out. If you're trying to do a three-dimensional project and your cut is off and your lines are off for your print, you're not going to have a very easy time of it putting it together. It's just not going to work well. It's very, very important. And again, even if you're doing something like stickers and you want a border around it, you don't want it 1.5 mil on one side and 2 mil on the other. You want it to be lined up. And that is how I have managed to do it. As I mentioned, I did try doing it with this. No, it did not work. It wasn't accurate enough, but doing this, yeah, that worked out just fine for me. So there we go, that's how I do it. Sometimes you'll need that accuracy, sometimes you won't, but it's always very useful to have it. Okay, that's it from me today, and I will see you again soon. Take care now.